to welcome you once again to Hope Channel Kenya, and this is the program that always comes to you to encourage you, the storyline. We want to thank God for many, many things. One of those is the experiences that He gives us. He takes us through in life so that we can share with others and encourage and motivate and inspire. And today we have a special guest here, a good friend, a man of God, a man that the Lord has used in many ways, including serving the public and the NGO world, and now retired, but still not tired. Elder Geshom Nyabwa. Elder comes to us from Nairobi South Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he's here to share with us his experience of what life has been since he lost his wife. But Elder, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm grateful that you have discovered that I am around.
You are around.
Yeah, so I didn't know what sort of welcome you are going to give me, because I was unaware when Mrs. Nyabwa called me.
Yes.
Just over the weekend. I went to church, and then in the afternoon I had something that kept me. So she didn't see me in the afternoon. Later on, she rang me and called me. Said, well, we wanted to get you somewhere to give some people who have lost their partner in life. Some of them have lost hope, and they need some encouragement that God can give you to give them.
And that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here.
But before we get to that, tell me a bit about your childhood. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in, I think I should say Dudi.
Dudi.
Dudi is a part of Wire. You know, Wire was part of Kind Hospital.
Yes.
So Wire was some place where my father and the others lived. They lived in community.
Okay.
Right?
How long ago was that?
That one was, I think it was before 1920s.
That's when they moved together to live as a community.
Yeah.
But you were born in 1935.
1935.
Wow. So what are some of the things you did as a young child? Do you remember?
Well, a few. Not all. Some, if I go into that means I should do research and ask questions. But
simple, your childhood activities that you engaged in.
I used to really love what my father and mother were doing. They got married, I don't know when, but they got married when they were in church. This one was from Kano. My mother was from Kano. My father was just from there, Dudi. And they had a roofs. They had their roofs here in Dudi area. So I was born while my parents were in Dudi.
So what did they do for a living? What were they doing for a living?
Well, no, not something that was great that by then. My father was just helping his brother. There were 3 in their home. So the one that was really left to take care of them was called Simeon Randa. Simeon Randa was the son of the woman that came from Kokwanyo, the place that was called Kamai. I don't know where Kamai is really, but that is what I've been told in story.
Yes.
This daughter of Kamai was called Wanga, daughter of a witch. Wanganyo witch. Wanganyo witch was married to Randa's father. He was called Wagwena.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Wagwena stayed a little, and he was one of the heroes of those days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a lot of fighting.
Yes.
People were trying to claim the place and all that. Now, the Luos were around the lake, and they were fighting with Kissis.
Yeah.
So, while they were fighting, some Kissis got hold of him and killed him.
Oh.
Right?
But he was a hero anyway.
He was a hero, but by then.
Mm-hmm.
Then, my grandma, my grandma was you know, the Luo tradition
Yes.
was taken by somebody else.
Yes.
to take care of Randa.
Mm.
And that one was called Dollar. Dollar got hold of this Nyarko Kwanyo, Wanganyo Witch. And Wanganyo Witch produced three children. Simeon Randa with Wagwena as the father. And then Wagwena died. So Juluot wacho ni oter danano. Otere gi Dollar. Dollar married her. And Dollar produced with her Mordecai Magak. It's my father.
Okay.
My late father.
Yes.
And my late mother, Elena Chola. And then there was also another one that was produced by this lady. She was called Ogal, Ketura Ogal. That was also the other. There are three children. So there is Simeon Randa, Mordecai Magak, and Ketura Ogal. They came from this woman called Wanganyo Witch.
That is your grandmother.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Dudi, and so how did you go to school then?
Well, because these people, they were in school, they were in Seventh-day Adventists, and Seventh-day Adventists brought in school.
Yes.
And I went to school in a Seventh-day Advent school, that is Dudi. And I grew there, and then I took my Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3, and Standard 4. Then Standard 5, I was in Dudi. Then I qualified to go to Wire.
What was that grade called?
That was Standard, I think it was Standard 6 then. Standard 6. So I went to Wire, I took 1 year. I was taught by somebody called Mosa Kuno Nyangaya. Those were the people that were really born in Dudi area. If you have heard of Nyangayas.
Yes, I know that.
So Musa Kuno and his brothers were born there in Dudi.
And that's where you went to school?
That is where.
So, tell me a little bit about how you met your spouse.
After I had taken my teacher training, I taught for about 4 years. And I joined in May 1962. Then I stayed a bachelor. I was given very good house, 3 bedrooms and a garage, and then servants' quarter. Just from the countryside, then you go in Nairobi. By then, we were the people who were really put at very high places.
Yes.
Then in 1964, I met my spouse.
What attracted you to her?
Well, you know, the tradition is my father and mother said, well, you have stayed in Nairobi for about 2 years. Why don't you get married? Then I thought, well, we have an aunt there that can really be used to get you a good girl. And that is what I went. And then I visited my aunt, and then I met my fiancée. We fell in love, and we got married. You know, the African way. We didn't really go to the the finales of all this Arusi and so on. Arusi, we went in later on, after we had visited the attorney generals and we were registered. That is how I met her.
But she turned out to be the best.
Very good one.
Very good.
Very good.
What are some of the things that you can remember about her? What really made her unique to you?
She was Christian. So they were in AIM by then. But I was seventh day, and we shared quite a lot of things. And then the father and mother also agreed she should join my religion, and she willingly just decided to join her without any problem. And so we started living, and we've got the first baby in 1965, September. And then we got another second baby in 1970.
Wow, you were good in planning.
Well, I think that was God.
Amen.
And then we got the daughter that is now in US. That was the third one in 19 was it 1970 something?
So how many children do you have?
We had 8 children.
8.
4 boys, 4 girls and 4 boys. So that was really a very good plan.
Yes.
That was there. And then we started now. We don't really want to go any longer. And then we stopped. So what happened is the first daughter died. Then the second one, also a boy, died. Then the fourth one, also a boy, died.
Oh, sorry.
And later on, their mother died in 2011. So
now tell me a bit about what happened to your wife in particular. How did she die? Was she sick?
she had been very sick. You know, when I went to US, I came back and I found her sick. She had some tooth problem. The tooth was extracted, and that confused her. She became a bit confused, and the responsibility I left her with, coupled with the sickness, made her be a bit worried. You know, when you are in a city and you are alone, loneliness is something that I know is very bad. I have experienced it, and I think she suffered from loneliness. And when I came back, I found her confused. Later on, you know, people are telling me, oh, there's something witchcraft or also something like that. But I said no. I don't think this is just some sickness and confusion that has really come to her. Even some of my close relatives said, because she was suffering that way, I should leave her. I said no. What God has given us, I don't think I can leave it. Either we stay until death will make us part, but I don't want to say I am chasing her because she's sick.
And that's what you did?
That's what I did. And then later on, she recovered and became very well. And if you go to Nairobi South and even churches where I've been, They just say, I am a role model. The way we have lived with my children and my late wife, many of them, even Kamasara who was here, they were telling me, you have given us something that we want to copy. Yeah.
So, when you look at it, really, if you had left her at that point when she was sick, what would it be like?
It would have been very chaotic. In fact, I don't know what would have happened. But I think through God's guidance and prayers, I was advised spiritually, that is your wife, don't listen to anybody, listen to God. And God said, I am the one who joined you together. I don't want you to say because sickness has been there. That one is temptation. Temptation can come in, and then you get rid of your spouse for nothing because of sickness. Sickness is there. You cannot really say you stay without sickness. You can be sick, she can be sick, and one of you can die. And that is something that encouraged me up to this point. Right.
Well, we want to take a short break now. And you see, one thing I've learned from this experience is that sometimes we are so quick to even get rid of our spouses just because they are going through a challenge. But Elder has said that he learned one thing, that he needed to be there for her. And indeed he was. And she got better. Can you imagine if he had put her away then and come back to look for her when she got well? But the good news is the Lord has been gracious to Elder Geshom. He is here to share his story. At 84, widowed, he still has a smile on his face. And he says it's because of the grace of God. He's lost 3 children. But he is here to tell you that there is hope in Jesus Christ. So don't go away. Just take a short break and come back if you must. Wow, thank you for coming back after the short break. We are still here with my friend, Elder Geshom Nyabwa, 84-year-old, widowed, taking care of grandchildren, and still moving around and happy in the Lord, serving the Lord in Nairobi South Church. Elder, so you lost your wife. What was that experience like for you and at that age?
Well, you see, it was not something that I expected. We were going to go for my friend's daughter wedding in 2011. It was on a Jamhuri Day. On 12th of December, we were to go for that wedding. We sat as we are sitting here, and we were having a cup of tea. Then she asked me, "Are you sure that we are going to go to that wedding?" I said, "Well, if God said we would go, we will go." when do you think it's going to take place? I said, between 11 and 1, then we should be in church. And then between there, something happened which was very unusual. She sat and started coughing. There was something that was coming inside and going into the throat. That one is choked her. And she collapsed. It was arrest, what we call the cardiac arrest. She collapsed just there. And you can imagine what I felt like.
You were just having tea, and the next minute, did she die in the house?
Well, I don't think I said she died. I thought that there was something that really choked her, and we could even go to hospital and have her resuscitated. And then immediately my son, my second last born, was with a friend. They were just in one of a bedroom. I called them, Sam, just come. Your mom is behaving in an unusual way. I try to talk to her, she's not talking. And I try to get hold of her. She is very heavy. She cannot come up. And then they ran down. When they ran down and then they touched her also, looked at all parts of this, there was no pulse rate. So that, then I said, we need to call ambulance and take her to the nearest hospital. And that's what we did. We took her to hospital, Nairobi West Hospital. On arriving there, we were shown the place where they were dealing with urgent cases. I found a young Indian lady. She did the examination. And then she called me aside. Are you really the husband? Yes, said. I'm sorry to say, there's no life in your friend. Then I said, I couldn't even talk because
The shock.
the shock. And then that is when my son, last born, came in and got hold of my hand. Daddy, come and sit somewhere. I went and sat down because I was sweating profusely at that time. I didn't know what to do. So she passed on. Then I passed word to my daughter, the second last born. No, the second last daughter. And that doctor came to me and said, well, we need to take her to our mortuary. Would you like to have another mortuary rather than this ours? Then I just said, without even thinking, let us go to Umash. You know where Umash is?
Yes.
That is where we took her. And how that one was going to be paid for,
You had no idea.
I didn't know.
So it was such a sudden death for you.
Yes.
And so what went on in your mind at that point?
I can't describe because I was confused, very much confused. I just said, now that she is taken to mortuary, I am going to be alone. And I will be alone without her. I don't know how I will be. That is what I thought. So for a time, I could not accept. I was just on the denial aspect. As it were, if you are a counselor, just what do you do? There he is. It's already now not in my house. She's in the mortuary. That night, I could not sleep.
Must have been very difficult for you.
Very difficult.
So
I thank the church members of Nairobi South they re-encouraged me, and that is when I knew that when you have people who are concerned about you, you don't feel the weight. Food was brought, and how they were feeding people, I don't even know. It was going on, and we had people, women, men came in with things. It was not difficult. Raising fund was not difficult. Yes. It was, I think God led even the fundraising.
Yes. So what has life been like for you since 2011? Being you, how do you cope? How do you do the usual chores that she used to do for you, the cooking and...
Well, even until at this hour, I have not even thought of getting somebody who can help me. Even my daughter in London said, well, Daddy, you are still going through, and we don't want you to sit there and some people get you worried. Come and see me, be with us in my graduation. So I went to Britain on October last year, and I stayed until March.
Oh, you've just come back.
I just come back.
Wow, that's nice.
And my daughter says they don't want to see me suffer. When you see me like this,
You're
all
looking
these
good.
are done because of my daughter.
Amen.
And God is taking care of me. Yes.
So how do you spend your day when you wake up to evening? What do you do?
That's difficult. I can't describe that one. I just find sometimes I don't want to sit down in the house to have nobody to talk to. Because I was imagining that when we are together, we were talking. When we were going to market, we were going together. When we were going to church, we were going together. And now, am I going to be alone here, especially in my bedroom? I cannot sleep. I told my daughters, they told me, if you get married to somebody now, you are going to have more problems. That is their thinking. Because your mom, their mom was so good, and we were so used to each other, and we loved one another so much that they couldn't even expect anybody to come and replace their late mother. I don't know whether I'll go through that. That one is still something that is difficult. We have not discussed that one with my daughters and sons. I have two sons that are living. The second last-born is a son, and the last-born is also a son. But the last-born has gone to be chunked away by a woman. And that is also now giving me a lot of headache. A woman who has a child who is just age mate of my last-born boy. So that one is really our headache. I have put it to God.
Amen.
So that God can sort it out. Because with me, I think I can be very irrational in really dealing with that woman. Because as it were, like a chicken with the children, with chicks here, then you are taking care of your children, then the mwewe anakuja huko ama kite anakuja chukua anaenda nayo. That's how this woman has done something to my last-born. And we are still really wondering.
He'll come back.
I know God is going to bring him back. And that is my hope.
Amen.
I don't want to use the way of the world, or going to court and all these things.
Yes.
They are not going to help me. And I've resolved with my children, don't don't bring in something. Because that woman may be the way the devil wants to to bring in chaos in my home.
So you really have a good relationship with your children, and that's what is keeping you going.
That is why they tell me, we don't want you to suffer. And they have helped me build a house,
Oh.
a big mansion in my home. Yes. I'm very happy.
Amen.
They have put me water. They have put the ceiling board. They have put the tiles. So I have. They are now even trying to put the solar system so that I can even have everything.
But are you planning to move home?
Well, I also bought a house in Nairobi. The house I'm staying in Nairobi.
Okay, that's still home.
It is still home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have that one. I've not rented it. I'm
Yeah.
still occupying it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
3-bedroom.
Wow. So there are many, many men that have lost their spouses, and really it's not easy for them to come to terms. And I guess it might be more difficult for men because they don't speak much. Women get into groups and somehow they sort of like overcome that grief within a period of time. But I can see that, you are still reminiscing those old days and the beauty of life that you had with your wife. But I just want to find out, what is it that keeps you going each day? What is it that really makes you wake up in the morning and say, wow, I have reason to live?
Prayer. Prayer and singing. I'm a choir master.
Oh, really?
And even the church now, they tell me I should advise the choir how to sing our hymn books properly. When I come to Kisii, I find how they sing. It's very bad. When I go to Kikuyu, it's sad story. But the music is there. People don't know how to read music. They sing by the ear. When I teach them anything, they sing it the way they have been taught. They are not singing it musically. And that's why I'm now in Nairobi West, Nairobi South. The Pastor Mwangi now, and the board, they just decided last year, let us give him something to do. And I'm now in church board, and I'm also, although I'm a sleeping elder. A sleeping elders now. I don't want to be idle. When you are idle, you see the devil comes in and sows seeds of discord, and you start now seeing what I saw in this church here, Nairobi Central.
So you are very occupied in your church.
I'm occupied, and I'm occupied in a godly way.
Amen. So what does prayer do to you?
Prayer make me be closer to God. I remember what happened to Cornelius. Cornelius was praying. He was not really a Christian, but he was an army general.
Yes.
And what he was doing daily at 3 o'clock, he was praying, praying. And he was also kind-hearted. He was helping the poor, the people who were the needy. And one day an angel came from God and said, Cornelius, and then Cornelius just answered, what is it, Lord? And then there's a song that we have formed when we are remembering what the angel was telling him. They say, Lemo pile, gitimbe guononi, ochopi nyasai.
What does that mean? Your prayer?
Consistent prayer. And also the being kind to others, being generous to them. All these have reached God. And God has now appointed you as somebody who can work for him.
Amen.
So that verse in itself is encouraging me. I should not just lose hope. I should have hope that God is going to determine when I'm going to rest.
But meanwhile, as you wait for that time, you are serving.
I serve him. I don't want to be idle. Right. So that's the encouragement I'm telling people. When you have lost your partner, God is still with you. You are not just don't just think like the Job's son, the Job's wife. No, well, when you do that, and Job told her, can we not pray even when? Can we not be grateful even when we are having problem? And that is encouraged me. So even in trouble, pray. God will listen to you. When you try to go to a Juoge or to go into all the witchcraft and all that, that is not going to help you. That is satanic. I don't want all those things to come into my home.
So you're really keeping to prayer and serving God in the church.
Yes.
Through music and other activities.
And we have also put a church in our home.
Okay.
There was a song that Omwambia and brother came in and sang. Little is much when God is in anything.
Amen.
It's a very good thing. So even when you are two and you are committed, God will help you achieve even wonders. We have achieved something and people wonder that Nyireo church is just a church in the city.
Amen.
Just like Nairobi South. Now we are thinking of also building somewhere where we are going to start a school. We want Advent school in our area with a church.
So what is this one thing that you can tell a widower today that can really help them to rekindle their hope in God?
Well, look at what Jesus told his disciples in John 14. That is a promise. It is not just an empty promise. It's a real promise. Believe in me as you believe in God. I am going to prepare a place for you. And I'm coming back. Jesus is coming.
Amen.
Don't worry about anything in the world. Riches and all these things, these are passing. And they make you also even go into temptation of being corrupt when you are looking for riches. That one is something that you should ignore. God is better than riches. And God is the owner of everything.
Amen.
So don't worry. Don't worry if you are really getting many things and you get another wife and that one is going to kill you. Those are really fears that people have. If God wants you to have another one, you will have. And he will take care of you. Right? So don't look at what is happening in the world. The devil is also working to discourage you. Here we have been told we are in Babylon. And Babylon the Great has really what? Fallen. And when you are his elect who are still there somewhere, come out of her. Come out of her. That has encouraged me. And even my colleagues who are widowers, don't lose hope. Don't overdrink. Drinking is not going to make you forget, as some of us think. I have seen my friends who went to drinking and they lost sight, they lost even their religion, and they think the world is really going to reward. This world is going to end. And it's going to end soon, and death will go. But don't fear death. Death is there. This old life will go. God is going to give us a new one, the one which you are going to live forever. Don't you want to live in New Jerusalem?
I do.
It is a good thing that when you read Revelation, the lesson that we learned last quarter, it was a lesson that we should think about. And this quarter, we have started looking at the relationship, how we should relate to God. If I had something to illustrate, I would now say we have the first relationship that we need to have is one with us. God is really in the center, and I in the end. So God is up there, I am there. Relationship between me and God must be positive. And then relationship that is going to be between me and my colleagues should also be positive. That is when you can live in peace. But when you want to be having things that you just want to have, mine, you are not the owner. God is the owner of everything. Relate to him positively, and he will show you how to relate to other people.
Wow. Thank you so much. Well, we have to come to the end of this show today, and my take from the show is that there is need for you and I to have a very personal relationship with God that cannot be moved even when death comes. Yes, it can disorient you for a while. That death can disorient you for a while. You can be discouraged, you can pose questions, but ultimately when you are rooted in God, you will stay rooted like Elder Geshom is doing. I know that you watching me out there could be a widower, and you'd like to know, how did he come out of this? We will be willing to take your calls, and we will communicate to him so that just in case you want to meet with him, understand how he has come out of it. Not too long ago, though, did his wife die. You can do that. And until then, I want to pray that the Lord may really bless you and comfort you and help you to know that he remains faithful and that he takes care of the widowers as he does to the widows and to the orphans. And so until next week, may the Lord bless you and keep you trusting in him. Elder, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. I didn't know it.
Yes.
But with the grace of God,
yes,
I think I've gone through it well.
Yes, you have. May the Lord bless you.
Thank God.
Thank you.
Right.